Well, hello, everybody. We are at the IRONMAN World Championship here in St. George, Utah, with UK multi-sport legend, the triathlete David McNamee. David, how are you?
Yeah, I would say good, but it's 24 hours after the race, and the body's a bit stiff and sore today.
All right. You're a veteran here. You did quite well. We'll review what you did. 48 minutes on the swim. Quick transition, minute and 13 seconds. 4:27 on the bike. You kept 25, almost 26 miles per hour for 112 miles. And then you run a 2:46 marathon. Unbelievable. And, still, World Championship. You had 8 guys ahead of you. So talk about the swim, the lake, the wetsuit, maybe how that saved your legs for the run, the bike, the hills, and then, of course, it all comes down to the run. Talk about your day out there at the World Championship.
Yeah, so I think overall it was a good day. It was the first time, obviously, we ever had a World Championships here in St. George, and it's a completely different race than usually in Hawaii, and the swim being in a lake, being wetsuit, it's a lot easier than being out in the ocean in Kona. I think so. That certainly helps later on in the day, but as we saw on the bike course here is truly spectacular.
It is.
But generally when it's spectacular, it means it's very hilly. And I think it's probably the hardest bike course I've did in an Ironman race.
Wow. And
then to back it up with a marathon, which, to be honest, there's not really any flats around here.
No.
So it was a 2:46 marathon, but it was a 2:46 marathon of just basically doing hill repeats, to be honest. And I'm more than happy with 9th. I know I've been in the podium twice before in Kona, but this is a different race here. It's not Hawaii. So for me, it's special to come here and come top 10.
David's known for running himself into 3rd place twice in Kona. That was like down in 10th and 12th place off the bike, so you really did a great job. Different run course. We could tell from the Ironman tracker when you were going up and when you were going down because the paces were so significantly different, that meaning really not a lot of flat time out there. In the past, like at St. George, and by the way, the reviews from your social media after St. George, after Oceanside was great, so just keep it up. You had a little bit of a mechanical on your bike in Oceanside 70.3 a few weeks ago. Any mechanicals on the bike yesterday?
No. The whole bike, to be honest, Cervelo are here in town, and they've looked after the bike perfectly
good.
this week, and it gives you a little bit of extra confidence knowing that the bike mechanics literally spent the day with your bike the day before the race. And to be honest, I basically had an instant free race yesterday, which it's not often you can say that.
And Cervelo's taking care of you.
And
it was the #1 bike on course. So your influence, see, that's
indeed,
why we go off rails now.
It's been for the last 16th year, but
Wow.
It's only since I turned up that it's really peaked.
Nice, excellent. So talk about the heat out there. Obviously, it's a different type of heat. When you get off the plane in Kona, you're in a different atmosphere. The humidity, the wind, the tropical, closer to the equator. Here, drier, 3,000 feet. What was the heat like out there on the Kona run course?
I think...
I'm sorry, on the HOKA run course.
The HOKA run course, the HOKA run course in St. George. To be honest, I think, for me personally, I found it harder. I think when you're in Kona, it's obvious that it's hot and that you need to drink. Whereas you come to a place like St. George, and especially with the wind, the first couple of hours on the bike, you don't feel that hot, but you quickly become dehydrated, and it's when you get to that stage where things become very difficult. So I think I dealt with it well, but I spoke to a lot of people after the race yesterday, and the #1 sort of thing that people said was they were shocked that all of a sudden they just felt really dehydrated. Mm-hmm. Whereas you go to Kona and you're sweating, so you're constantly thinking about drinking. And I think it just hit a lot of people yesterday. And to be honest, I drank a lot more than I thought I would need to. And I finished the course completely sunburnt, to be honest. And it was a truly hard day yesterday, a truly special day. I think Ironman picked the perfect course. you know, I would love to be in Hawaii, but that just wasn't possible right now. So yeah, I think St. George delivered a world championship that, you know, I think we can all be proud of.
Yeah, steam room in Kona. This is more like a blast furnace or a sauna for sure. Different conditions. You know, you just spoke a moment ago about the swim, and you know, it's triathlon. It's not three sports like Paula Newby-Fraser said years ago. It's one sport. You significantly said in the way you mentioned the swim being different with the wetsuit. A lot of people don't know in Kona, you go out and back in the water, where you go with the current on the way out to the turnaround, but then you've got a bit of a current coming back to Kailua Bay into the boat ramp. Talk about not having a current and having the wetsuit and what that was like, and how did that affect your run? Because it all comes down to the run.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference is when you're in Kona, especially on the way back, it's really difficult. Yep. And you're without a wetsuit, so generally you're kicking a lot more. So for me, when I have a wetsuit on, I basically kick for the first 200 or 300 meters of the swim, and then I don't bother kicking for the rest of it.
No more kicking.
And yeah, I just use my arms and save my legs for the rest of the race. And yeah, I suppose you're still a bit tired when you leave the water here, but usually Hawaii's probably the hardest swim in the circuit, and I think you can always tell towards the end of the race that the swim's actually played a bigger part to the event than you actually realise, because that's one of the reasons why a lot of people sort of fade towards the end in Kona, is that the start of the race has been a lot harder than usual. And yeah, here in St. George, we were swimming in a lake with the wetsuit on, and yeah, it helps just protect your body for later on in the day.
You know, you mentioned you drank a lot out there, and after a race, you usually make it to In-N-Out. Did you make it to In-N-Out here in the States? And if so, what was on the menu?
Did not make it last night. It wasn't my choice where we went last night. It was a friend's, and we cheated on In-N-Out. We went to something, Five Guys.
Oh, yeah.
I've never been a...
Sort
I
of
was
a
disappointed.
weak cousin of...
I hope I don't get sued for saying that,
okay.
But...
No.
I shouldn't have cheated on In-N-Out last night,
Sure.
and yeah.
Well, swim, bike, run, have fun, but as a triathlete myself, it all comes down to the food, really.
Yeah, it's basically all why we do it, you know.
We've officially gone off the rails. I apologize. So what's in the future? We always like seeing you do so well. And one more thing before we get into that. You've raced all over the world, and you're known for going hard and racing hard. Talk about this as a world championship course before we get into any more In-N-Out food.
Yeah, I think, yes, there's a true test. Hawaii is also a true test, but just in slightly different circumstances. Sure. In Hawaii, we have like the crosswinds to deal with in the bike, and obviously the environmental, as hard as it was yesterday, for a lot of people in Hawaii, is the toughest race in the circuit just because of the heat and humidity. But I think yesterday for a World Championship course, it was a true, honest test. I would have loved it to be a non-wetsuit swim. The swim segment is always good for me, and I prefer it to be as hard as possible. But the bike and the run courses yesterday were spectacular, and I think it really helped showcase the level of the professional sport that we have. You know, I did an interview 4 or 5 days ago, and I said the winner here will have to go into 750, and people thought I was just, you know, a bit silly. Everybody else said, oh no, like you won't break 8 hours here.
Yep, I agree.
And I was like, no, like the standard now, it's moved up over the last 2 or 3 years. And,
yes.
You know, I've been in this sport now for the last 8 or 9 years, and I've seen every year it's gradually increased. But over the last 2 or 3 seasons, it's really shot up. And yeah, to go 7:40, I think Christian did to win it.
Yep.
On this course, it's just probably
amazing.
One of the hardest Ironman courses in the world. It's truly special. Yeah. I know I said it was going to be sub 750, but to actually witness it, and you know, I went 8:04 yesterday, and
Unbelievable.
You know, for me on this course, it's probably my best ever performance. but then Christian goes 7:48. It's truly remarkable, and yeah, you know, he's obviously an incredible athlete, obviously Olympic champion, and now Ironman World Champion. It's, yeah, for me, it's just exciting to see how fast this sport is progressing.
Well, triathlon is one sport, but it's swim, bike, run, have fun. It all comes down to the run. And you, as a runner, I've seen run them down. And we continue to look forward to seeing you run the competition down from here in St. George all the way to Kona and whatever else for the rest of the year. So with us, David McNamee at the Ironman World Championship here in St. George, Utah. We'll see you soon, and certainly in a few months on the Kona coast.
Sounds good. Yeah.
All right.
Counting down the days to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.